Hello, my name's Aevi and today I'm going to talk about a myth about tarot that I used to believe and why I stopped believing it. So, my so-called tarot myth is actually about oracle cards, or the relationship of oracle cards and tarot. So, as we probably know, tarot is old. And I used to think that tarot was old and real, and oracle cards were new, and I don't want to say it, but nonsense. I used to think that oracle decks, as far as I was aware of them, I probably didn't even know they had that name. I used to think that they were full of angels and butterflies and fairies and roses. I used to think that all the pictures were pretty similar. I thought these oracle decks, which I didn't know what they were a way that people used to tell them what they wanted to hear. I thought that they were positive messages solely, and actually kind of evil because they, like I might have already said, told people what they wanted to hear, and they were phony. I used to think that tarot was totally different and totally separate to what oracle was, or what these other angel decks were. I think I thought it was kind of related to like angel worship or something. I mean, to be honest, I was pretty vague because I didn't go near the things very much, which was one of the places where you could say I went wrong. I mean, I guess a lot of people would still agree with this. I think one of the things is that the culture that I'm around is very atheistic, I'd say, and I don't know, there's quite a lot of not taking anyone that believes in anything spiritual at all seriously, and these kind of pretty oracle decks are like the height of something that is easy to dismiss. And yeah, it's feminine as well, isn't it? So that makes it even more easy to dismiss. And that's something I used to do. Yeah, I used to think that oracle decks were not spiritual. I don't know if I've already said that. And what else did I think? I thought that oracle was something that somebody invented, possibly in the 80s, in America probably, to make dollars, and poor people that bought oracle decks were suckers. I mean, I feel like I shouldn't continue because I don't want to insult you, but this is what I used to think. I'm, again, being probably overly honest. I've run out of cards to lay, so you're just gonna have to listen now. Or maybe I should move on to the next part. I think the main other point that I want to get across is that I thought, yeah, I think I've already said I thought it was very different to tarot, but I definitely thought this is obviously more about oracle, but it's related to tarot because I thought that tarot was historic and it was a tradition, and that made it valid in a way that oracle wasn't. So I guess I would have more thought that tarot, I mean, it was obviously esoteric, but it kind of you know, was valid, like a traditional old-fashioned faith with history is valid, and new inventions, I mean, yeah, I don't want to start discussing New Age in general because it's just way too complicated and I haven't got anything to say that's coherent about that at this point. But yeah, I just thought that Oracle was nonsense, basically. I'm sorry I thought that. What's the second part of the question? Day 24. A myth and why you stopped believing it. So, if you call that a myth, which I would now do, it broke down gradually. Basically, the original time when I started reading tarot was like over 20 years ago, 25 years ago. But in that time, I didn't really go near Oracle decks. And then I was kind of vaguely aware of them as something like in the corner of a charity shop or maybe a bookshop, but, you know, I didn't go near them anyway. And then I had a more recent revival of reading tarot. I don't know how long ago that was, but it was like at least 5 years ago. And then there was a little bit of interaction with tarot in between that gap. But anyway, so then I've had more recent tarot decks and stuff, and then I started reviewing my thoughts about Oracle during my like second wave of tarot, let's say. So the first thing was sorry, I'm slowing down because I'm obviously a bit uncertain exactly what I'm going to say. Gotta collect my thoughts. I think recently I've probably just changed as a person, so I'm more like open to where things are coming from rather than having preconceived ideas. Like, even if I don't believe in something, I almost want to understand it first, or I want to understand what it means to people. So my whole mindset was more open to begin with. Second of all, obviously, in the recent era, I discovered tarot on social media, on YouTube, on tarottube, as we call it, and obviously everyone that's doing tarot is talking about Oracle just about, or that's not completely true, but you know what I mean? Like, if I'm watching tarot deck reviews, then Oracle deck reviews come up. And so I couldn't really sustain my, like, what's it called? Dual way of thinking. What is the word? There's a word anyway. Yeah, so then I guess I also thought, well, maybe I'll just try it. And you know, when you try things, you get different ideas. So it kind of turned out I was a bit of a fool. I finally got to the Fool card. And another thing that changed my idea was I read this academic paper. I might refer to it in another video, or I might post it. I don't know. Anyway, I don't know what the title of it is. I don't know where I'd find it now, but it was about some ways that modern pagans interact with contemporary culture, meaning like modern stuff. If you don't know what contemporary culture means. Yeah, so basically, partly because of that paper's, like I said, an academic study, it also helped me to think about spirituality and how my preformed ideas were about things that were historical being valid and things that were new being not, and maybe not spiritual. Like, I don't know, I think we refer back to history a lot, and it's not like I haven't got a place in my heart for a spiritual tradition, but I've also now got a place in my heart for oracle cards. I feel like there's more I could go into here. I don't know what I should say. What should I say? I think one of the things I just want to touch on, maybe to kind of draw this to a close, is that part of what I thought before was based on prejudice. And yeah, I think the other thing is, I suppose I've gone on this big like speech about what I used to think. So what I would say now is it's not clear cut. It's not a simplistic view of what an oracle deck is, because I think the main thing that I personally have discovered, now I actually own oracle decks. I'm going to look, I've even got a blooming Doreen Virtue oracle deck, and I've got more than one oracle deck obviously, but here's another example. So this one I got a few years ago, I think. Anyway, this is one that is an example of an oracle deck that's just quite specific. And I think maybe even just through having this oracle deck, but just in general, that's one of my main like findings or understandings about oracle decks is oracle decks are so varied and individualistic, and it depends on the creator, and it depends on the artist, the author, the book. There's just all these different things. Tarot's obviously more structured, but that doesn't mean it's more spiritual than people's earnest creative response to trying to create a card deck. I don't know if that makes sense. I feel like there's more to say about oracle decks. Maybe I will say some of those things in another video that's a little bit related to this one. Yeah, I think that's probably enough for now, and that's enough for 31 Days of Tarot. I am no longer advertising what video you're going to get next, because I'm going back to some of the old ones if you're actually watching this in like the beginning of 2021. But also I don't know what I'm doing basically because I'm a new YouTuber. Anyway, yeah, sorry, so faffy. Thank you for watching. If you thought this video was interesting or worth other people watching, you could give it a thumbs up, and hopefully you will join me for another video. I look forward to seeing other people's answers to this question. Bye.